Hey everyone, this is a New Jersey high school report. That was the Camden Panthers celebrating their first state title in a long time, I believe since 2001. After year after year after year of losing to Newark East Side, Newark West Side, Newark Tech, they finally broke that Newark curse. They beat Newark Central, and they were their usual. They were their usual outstanding selves, 93-62. They were just amazing. They pressured the heck out of Newark Central. I mean, 93-52. And they pressured Newark, so they were much better. It was a mismatch. And congratulations to Coach Rodney McCray, who got Newark Central there. And that was a great accomplishment. And they had a good season. They were up against a juggernaut, one of the better teams in the country, and one of the best teams to stay in New Jersey. 7-foot tall Aaron Bradshaw had 10 points and 10 rebounds. I mean, my gosh. And Wagner had 20 points, and he had 12 in the second half, but he was kind of on cruise control. And they pressured the heck out of Newark Central. They were able to run. They were able to make their shots. They were doing what they always have done all year long. And that's what makes Camden tough. They're very deep. Their bigs are good. I know they're missing a player due to ACL tear, but they're so deep, they just keep it rolling. And that's what they did. Sion Medley played well. I mean, jeez. They just balled out. They're primed and ready to try to be the first public school since Camden to win the last Tournament of Champions. But you got some good public schools here playing in it this year. And Woodrow Wilson won. And Woodrow Wilson, and the Camden fans were there cheering for Woodrow Wilson right after they won. So that was very interesting. Camden was leading the whole game. And then all of a sudden, but they were tentative. And Ramapo took a lead. Nathaniel Burleson was good. Hit a three. He played really well. Gave him a 4-point lead with 1:46 left. And then Ramapo got tentative. And there was a 3-point play by Elijah Smith. And then a putback by James Proctor. And they took the lead and they kept the lead. But it was just back and forth. Both teams were sloppy. They were good teams, but they were sloppy. Bergen Catholic, who I'll get to in a minute, they're going to beat Camden Wilson in their quarterfinals. And then you have Paterson Charter, who whooped up on Burlington City. And Paterson Charter got some scores. Paterson Charter, they're not your mother's Group 1 team. They're a good team. Asim Jones had 30 points. I've watched them thanks to my guy, Orlando Cameron, and his hoops website, and he did a good job. I followed them in Bergen County, and they are good. They won 91-67 over Burlington City, and they're going to play the Elizabeth Minutemen. And I got to say, and I love the Elizabeth Minutemen. I love my guy, Phil Colicchio, and a lot of the players in the city, a lot of the old heads that I always fell in love with. They always supported me when I used to work as a newscaster there. I was so happy. It was their first state title since 1991. Marlboro was good, man. Marlboro gave them all types of trouble. I mean, Jack Seidler was making tough turnaround shots, dribbling in the lane, his slow spin move, bank shot. Johnson Spatola was hard to stay in front of. They couldn't stay in front of him in the first half. They switched Sebastian Robinson on Seidler, and he guarded him well, shut him down. Even Phil talked about it. And then Spatola they took him out from penetrating because he was penetrating a lot, and they were getting shots that they wanted, and they had a lead. And Elizabeth just kind of hung in there. They didn't let Marlboro take off. So once it got close, once they were even, they were leaving. And Richelieu was big, hitting big shots. But man, the sophomore, London Carlson, who I interviewed, was huge, man. Whew. He was hitting shot. In that third quarter, he just caught fire, hitting shot after shot after shot. I mean, he had 8 points in the third quarter. He ended up with 21 points. Richelieu had 17. And that's the help that Sebastian Robinson needed for the Elizabeth. If the Elizabeth have any chance, they're going to have to get help. And everybody did their part because their team defense in the half court was just straight stifling. They help. They take away what you like. They knew that those two players like to penetrate. They took the penetration away. They chased the three-point shooters out of their spot. They took away their airspace, and they were able to just pull away and take care of business and win their first state title in 1991. I remember that. I'm an old head. They won 70-63. And this was good. I know Phil really enjoyed it. He came back home from Linden, winning, I believe, 5 titles with Linden. I'm going to double check. It say 6, but I'm going to double check to see how many that was. I do remember the 5. Comes back to Elizabeth. Elizabeth was a complete mess. It was a dumpster fire. And it was just nothing there. In his first year, they were a tough shot away from beating Newark Eastside and winning the states and making a noise. And then COVID came because they were going to win that year. They were really the state champs that year. Then they didn't have anything the following year. And then this year they won it. And they won it the hard way. They had to walk into gym after gym after gym being a 9th seed. Walk to JP Stevens. That was a decent game. Watch on Hill is always tough. Last second shot, another tough game. What I felt like in my heart for Elizabeth to win the state title, their toughest game was going to be the winner of Linden and Westfield. If they got to, because they know each other, if they got to that minefield, they were going to be fine. They beat down Newark Eastside team, not as good as they usually are. And they went into Newark Eastside. Then they walked into Linden. And Linden's where Phil Colicchio made his bones. It's Phil Colicchio court. Some of the fans are still mad at him. And they walked in there in that hostile environment and took the game away in the fourth quarter and won the game. And it was a very interesting celebration in the Linden locker room with the former coach, Ben Candelino. And then they beat up on Ridgeway. I knew they were going to do that. And then they just wore down Marlboro, and they took care of business. And I was happy for Phil. And like I said, after this segment, I interviewed Phil Colicchio and London Carlson, who talked about their win. But now Parochial B, Roselle Catholic, man. This is their 5th state title. And it was a good game. Trenton Catholic gave them a good game, but Jamarcus Lawrence and Simeon Welcher had 18 points in the second half, and they did what they had to do, and they ended up beating the Trenton Catholic. And it was a really, like I said, it was a really good game. And I was very, very impressed with Roselle Catholic taking care of business and winning and doing what they had to do. But in the Parochial A, I was more surprised. Like, I knew Roselle Catholic was going to take care of business and beat Trenton Catholic. It was 74-66. It was a good game, but I knew they were going to win it. After their toughest game, because I talked about Elizabeth's toughest game, their toughest game was Gill. Because Gill had it in for him. Gill was sick and tired of losing. Dallas, Denver Anglin, I keep saying Dallas, Denver Anglin, 11 3-pointers, and they survived that. And they ended up winning in Trenton Catholic. And they love the close games, and that's what St. Anthony's used to do. St. Anthony's was really good in the close games, and they always figured out a way to win state title to state title. And that's what Roselle Catholic looks like right now. They look like that juggernaut that just keeps on winning. They know how to win. I should have known this because of the experience factor, but I picked Rutgers Prep because of the role they were on. But they got beat up by Bergen Catholic 66-54. And you know what? It's always that unsung hero that comes out of nowhere. I talked about London Carlson, but Brandon Benjamin, 15 points, 14 rebounds. Will Richardson's going to give you what he does. 14 points and 3 rebounds and 4 assists. But that's the X factor. That's how you advance Brandon Benjamin. I like Bergen Catholic over Woodrow Wilson. Wilson's sloppy. They got good players. Proctor's good, but I don't like how tentative they could be. And I think Bergen Catholic's going to jump on them. And I think Roselle Catholic's going to beat Bergen Catholic. Now, my dream matchup is Elizabeth and Camden. Elizabeth has to get through Paterson Charter, and that's not going to be easy. You see how their top players have 30 and 20. Now, it's going to be hard to get up 30 points against that Elizabeth defense. Elijah Bruno is one of the better on-the-ball defenders in all of basketball. You know what it comes down to? Can Paterson, which has never seen this kind of defense all year, deal with Elizabeth's defense? Can Elizabeth slow those guards down? And can Elizabeth not be as tentative? Sometimes Elijah Bruno drives in the lane, stops. Now he's looking. Instead of takes the shot, he looks. And that doesn't always work. I think they're going to have to be more decisive, especially if they are fortunate enough to win, then you got to play those monsters from Camden. They have to be super sure with the ball, as good as Camden is pressure-wise. And I always look for these super matchups, and it never usually happens. It's usually like, okay, Paterson Charter find a way to win because the dream matchup doesn't happen. But if Elizabeth wins, the dream matchup, Elizabeth versus Camden. That's what everybody would love to see. That the Rutgers crowd, Elizabeth, Camden crowd, all is just going to be off the hook. There's history there, years and years of Elizabeth beating Camden. Camden can exercise. They exercise the Newark Demon. Can they exercise the Elizabeth Demon, provided Elizabeth gets by a very, very tough Paterson Charter team? But I do believe Bergen Catholic's going to take care of business against Wilson. Wilson was the team I was least impressed with. Congratulations, they won their title, but I like Bergen in that, and Bergen and RC. I think RC's a little too strong for him. And then we may have Camden and Elizabeth. I'm just hoping for all hope somehow Elizabeth gets out of that game, and we see Camden and Elizabeth. So here are the interviews. It's unprofessional. Okay, get my buddy some water here. I got Coach Kalikia here. You know what? I'm so proud of you because we've been friends for a long time. I'm so happy for the team, but happy for the city. So I want to talk to you how important it is to the city.
I think the city's been starving for a basketball championship. Once Benny Canlino retired, they've gotten this far once or twice. They won a section, but they haven't been consistently good. And that's what I wanted to do when I came here. I wanted to, Benny was my coach and my mentor, and I wanted to emulate what he did. Even though we did that at Linden, doing it at Elizabeth is a little bit different. And when I called up Coach Hurley to ask him, what do you think about me taking the Elizabeth job? The first thing he said, what you've done at Linden is amazing, but when Elizabeth's on top of this state, there's nothing like it. Put Elizabeth back on top. So Coach Hurley, I put Elizabeth back on top.
Second quarter on, your help defense was fantastic on Seidler and their point guard because they were getting to the basket at will in the first quarter. Then all of a sudden, you started to grind it out, and the help defense was terrific. The rotations on the three-point shots, you took away the airspace, so you did a terrific job from that point on.
That's the way we play. I thought in the first quarter we were respecting their three-point shots a little bit too much. We were so spread out, and they were getting easy drives to the rim. And I told the guys, no, we got to play regular show defense, help him recover. And like I just told the last guy, so with Sebastian, I don't know how many points Sebastian had. I really don't care. We put Sebastian on number 22 in the second half and shut him down.
Shut him down.
And, that's probably the first time all year that we put Sebastian on the other team's best player, and he responded. And give Sebastian a ton of credit. He found London and Etienne, and he shared the basketball in the second half, and that's why we're state champions.
London Carson, man, shooting that ball with confidence over and over, hitting big shot after big shot.
When London makes one, we expect him to make 7.
Oh yes, I've seen that. Now, you had to beat Watchung Hills and Linden. You had one of the toughest roads to get here. On the road, game after game, and close game after close game. That helped you become battle tested when you got here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we came in with the 9th seed. We were supposed to go home 3 weeks ago. I don't know if a 9th seed's ever won the state championship, but we just won the state championship as a 9th seed. And we're going back to Dunn Sports Center right now to cut down the nets.
Okay, thank you. London Carson's here. Hey, I said on my radio show that Elizabeth needed that second guy to help Robinson. You came through. You started to catch fire in the second half. What happened in that?
I just focused. I concentrated and I played loose.
When you hit the first one, did it start to feel good? Because you started to hit threes on the fast break.
Yes, it felt good. It got me on a roll, and I just kept knocking him down.
I thought a big part of your win was your help defense. When Seidler started getting going, you started to pinch down on him. You started to defend the point guard, and you took away the penetration. I thought that was the key.
Right, yeah. Our coach definitely pushed us on defense. That's what he cares about most. That's what he told me to do in the first half, and I just focused on that in the second half, and then everything fell into place.
So now, what do you guys have to do to finally to get another win to get to the semis?
We have to play hard and trust in each other and other teammates to make plays and all that.
Thank you.